Hello all, it's me, Neo Indie. I've been unable to put together a formal review because of, stuff I'm doing right now, so this is just sort of a vlog instead. And what I've come to talk today about is a movie I saw today called Targets, starring, surprisingly, Boris Karloff. I say surprisingly because this movie came out in 1968, late 60s, and by then Karloff's career was pretty much dead in the water. So, kind of sad, but... Now, this movie is rather interesting to talk about because it's not really bad in that you, like, let's say, Star Wars or something where you watch this, like, oh, this is crap. It's one of those things where if you just are, like, watching bits of it, you'll go, this is stupid, what the hell is this? But if you watch it and you kind of think about it a little bit, ruminating on it, as I have done today, it kind of becomes more appealing. Basically, it's sort of a movie with two separate storylines. Yeah, I know you've never heard that one before. But the thing is, these are, like, not just, they're supposed to intertwine, and that's the idea they were going for, but they are very separate. And at times it seems like it's a double feature with bits from either movie spliced in there. And if they were made separately, they could have been good. But the way they are, they kind of lose the impact of each other. They kind of cancel each other out. Just from a basic viewing standpoint, that is. Well, the first storyline, and the first one we're introduced to, is Karloff's. He basically plays himself. A guy named Orlok. For those of you who've seen Nosferatu, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. Well, so he plays a horror movie actor named Orlok who basically stars in the same stuff that Karloff does in real life. And he's saying, you know what, I'm old. It's the end. You're making me do all these movies, and I'm just sick to death of it. I want to retire. I just want to live out what few years I have, just calm, relax, not having to deal with the movie stuff. And that way, it's sort of a drama, crisis of conscience, sort of thing. I don't really know how to describe that, but you know what I'm talking about. And Karloff, of course, does this well. It's the voice is a little off-putting with the whole tiredness, because it kind of is hard to believe with a voice like that, but that can't really be helped. It's Boris Karloff. He can't really make himself sound weak. It's almost like an impossibility. Well, oh well. But despite that fact, he does a pretty good job of playing his part as just this guy who's like, I'm fed up. I want to just relax. It's the end of the whole damn mess. I feel great. I'm a little guilty, but I feel great. Then the other storyline, it's sort of like an early attempt at falling down, I guess. It's this guy, I don't know the actor's name, but he's this youngish guy who, he's kind of a dork, really. I'm not sure what he does for a job, but he does some sort of business thing, I assume because of his suit, but he's kind of a dork. He lives with his parents. He's married too, is the thing. He lives with his parents. But these are one of the really weird, overly stiff sort of white people who were holdovers from the 50s. So, yeah, I don't know, they seem to function. Except this guy, it's clear, like, from the very first scene that he is in, that he's not well in the head. Because he's at a gun store and he's like buying this rifle, and of course he's like scoping out, and this is where the first one where like one of the only few scenes where these storylines intertwine. He's looking through his sniper scope on the scope on the rifle across the street and sees Karloff and just like got it right on his head, just testing the trigger pull, right? Well, so, I mean, it's clear he's not well. But the main problem with his storyline is they never really get into it. I mean, I know, like, a lot of things have been ruined by over-explanation, like Hannibal Lecter. I say it's been ruined, yet I have that book, Hannibal Rising. That messed up the whole series because Hannibal was this cool, mysterious guy, and then they just totally took out the whole monster thing, just made him human, which really lamed him out. But this character, the idea is that he is a human character. He's a regular Joe who just goes crazy one day and starts shooting people. Like I said, it's like Falling Down, or like Uwe Boll's recent movie Rampage. It's sort of like that. And I don't know, they just never really get into it. It seems when he does it that it's sort of sudden. I mean, yeah, they give you hints, like he and his dad are out with the 22s and plinking, and the dad's setting up the cans, and he's like, you know, he loads his gun, he's like looking down the sights at his dad, and then his dad's like, hey boy, what are you doing? That's how accidents are started. Sorry, sir, I wasn't thinking. You know, crazy bastard. But then, like, suddenly, like, he's just sitting there typing up this thing, and his wife comes in, honey, how's it going? He's like, pulls out his 1911, blows her away. The mom's like, oh, what happened? And then, like, the boy with the groceries, oh. And he just kind of cleans up. He doesn't really hide the evidence. I guess basically, the idea was that he was a neat freak. I don't know, I was watching with my dad, he picked up on it, I didn't, whatever. So, and they never really explain a lot about him. They need to give more of a story. But of course, they're using that time to focus on Karloff, which, like I said, that part isn't developed because some of the actors and actresses in there are kind of second rate. Not terrible, but it doesn't really matter. The only interesting character among them is this stupid DJ. Because here, like, where the main stories end up intertwining is that Karloff is, like, going to, like, make an appearance at his new movie at this drive-in theater. And he's going to make an appearance after the movie. And so this DJ is going to be, like, interviewing him at the thing. And he's such a weird douche. He's unlikable, but he's the only interesting one besides Karloff. Who, by the way, tells a pretty interesting story involving death. It's almost like a joke. I mean, it's... Yeah, you can almost, like the way he tells it, you can almost imagine him sitting in his big chair by the fireplace. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, allow me to... I don't know. Just tell him one of the spooky little story. And that was really nice. I like that part. Well, basically the guy just starts not Karloff, but the crazy guy starts sniping people, going on a rampage, whatever. And it's interesting because he doesn't actually get chased by the police for that. He's speeding in his Mustang, and then this police officer just does a U-turn over the divider or what thingy, and just like zips right after him. And so he takes refuge inside a drive-in theater. I don't know. Well, of course, this is the same drive-in theater that Karloff's going to. You get the idea. Well, now, it's sort of realistic. I mean, like, but I don't know what the deal... once again, another thing that bothered me is that this guy just did not seem well planned at all. I mean, it shows him, like, planning stuff. Like, he's like, you know, like I said, he's aiming at his dad, he's aiming at Karloff, he's doing all this stuff. He's buying more guns. He's got a truck, like, his trunk is full. Like, he's got, like, an open duffel bag with, like, the guns lined out, like, you know, perfectly aligned and stuff. Like, he's planning this. Like, he's, you know, thought everything through. And then, when it's time to do stuff, okay, he goes to, like, on top of a big big petrol storage tank thing. You know. And he's, like, right by the highway. And he just, on the freeway, and just starts picking off people. And, which is kind of a good idea, you know, because it's the freeway, no one's really paying attention. Well, then the cops start coming. Well, he's got a bunch of guns lined out at a lunch. He shoots the one worker who happens to be there that day. And then he just leaves half the guns and half of his bullets there. He's just like, oh, like takes a couple of the guns, puts them in his bag, runs down the thing, jumps, like, you know, gets over the wall, drops another 2 guns, runs a bit, gets into his car. He's got like he had like 12 guns before, now he's got like 4 or maybe 5. I know it's a little thing, but it just seems like he didn't try at all to do what he was trying to do. And then, like, he gets to the theater where Karloff's doing the thing, and he starts picking people off in the theater. I mean, at the theater, drive-in. I keep saying theater, drive-in. Well, I don't know. They can't hear the gunshots over the movie, apparently. I don't know. It's a really lame excuse. But, so, all this scene really does is he shoots at people. People either die or like, oh, there's a sniper! And these people got the word out pretty quickly, so this scene really didn't do much, except he killed a couple more people. I mean, this guy is so incompetent, though. He, like, reloading, and he drops all of his stuff. Like, I don't mean just a few things, like a box or 2 of bullets and one of his guns. He drops everything off the side, reaching for another box of bullets for his rifle. And, I mean, this guy just really did not seem like he was trying. And it didn't seem like he was crazy, like he just cold-blooded killer. It just seemed like he didn't seem like all excited about it. He just seemed like he was going through a to-do list. And like I said, it's not like he's all cool about it, like a Terminator. He's just like a guy just drudging through his list, like, all right, let's shoot people on the freeway now, and all right, let's murder my parents. I got nothing else to do. And then I'll have lunch in an hour or 2. All right. This schedule should work out. I don't know. Well, long story short, everything kind of works out. He's cornered. The police figured out everything. He's shooting wildly. And like I said, these stories, like, I don't know if I said this yet, actually, but these stories do not mesh together. A story about an actor who has regrets about retiring and a guy going on a rampage killing people. Nothing in common. Except maybe events. Well, so they try and mesh them together in the end, and it's really... I'm not going to spoil this part for you. I'd rather have you feel my disappointment in this scene. I'm sadistic like that, you see. Well, yeah, long story short, they put the 2 characters together in a really stupid situation, which negated a lot, and it just really, the movie did not wrap up well. It really just kind of, I guess, like, the writers felt they were painted into a corner and just slapped on an ending that got the 2 together. Now, I mean, I have been bashing on this movie, but I would recommend it. Like, if I were to give it a star rating, I'd probably do, like, 2.5-ish. Because it's not bad. Like I said, I mean, like, in the conventional sense that, you know, the stories don't mix. Most of the actors are terrible, except for Boris Karloff. It's really not worth seeing, but a couple of times. I mean, at least once. Just watch it once. If Boris Karloff's enough to bring you back, then fine. I probably am not going to watch it again. Unless I just, on a whim. It's, like I said, it's just, they could have been done so much better, and they really should have been 2 separate movies. But, like I said, the only thing that saves this movie is Boris Karloff. Because the guy who plays, like, the other main character, the killer, he's just this loser who really brings nothing to the table. He doesn't go either way with psychosis. He's just useless. I'm sad to say. Well, but like I said, just check it out. If they were, like, you can tell, if they were separate stories and had been fleshed out more, they would have been pretty good. So, like I said, recommended it 2.5-ish, but only for about 1 viewing. That's about all I have to say about that. Good night, everybody.